Hello everybody and welcome to Tuesday Night Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show as we enter the tricky Twixmas period. We hope you all had a good Christmas, enjoyed your time off with the family. Only one game on Boxing Day as well, then a multitude of games on Saturday, and not very much happened at all in yesterday's games. And then we enter deadline period for today, which is going to be in 3/4 of an hour, 7:30. 6 games today, then nothing tomorrow on New Year's Eve, and then 4 games split over 2 time periods on Thursday, New Year's Day. So I'd say best wishes to everybody. Welcome to those that are in the chat. John Boy's in, and Dave's in, and 93DT. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome everybody. So tonight we're going to have a look at the team news for the 7:30 kickoffs. If we get team news for the 8:15s while we're on, then if somebody can drop it in the chat, that would be great. We're going to have a look, see who's won the first prize of the Cloud Fantasy Football season, because we had a prize for top at Christmas. We're going to have a look at my team, new page on the Cloud website, the Insights page. We'll have a look at that. Then we'll have a look, see who scored the points over the week on the Match Centre. Then we'll have a look at the leaderboard. Then we've got some Team of the Week so far and Team of the Season. Transfer updates, quite a few used in the top 10 this week, I think. We'll have a look at the fixtures for this midweek and next weekend. We'll have a look at the goals and clean sheets from Rob T. We've got some questions mainly on midfielders this week, so we'll do that as part of the charts, and we'll have a look at my team and plan. Okay, so without further ado, let's get stuck in. And first of all, we're going to have a look and see who won the first prize for the season. So we had a £50 prize for top on Christmas Day, and it was shared between Alex and Tony Davies, both of who finished on 1,508 points on Christmas Day. The overall leaderboard was 10th Martin Brown, 1465. Joint 8th, Owen and Jerry, 1467. Tim Barry, who was leading for a long while, 1475. Gary Robbins, 1489. Andrew Morwan, 1490. Walter Good, 1501. Aaron Smith, 1502. And I say Tony Davies and Alex, 1,508 points. Alex just sneaking up to the top with 7 more points than Tony. I think that was, if I remember right, it was an Anderson clean sheet points in Fulham versus Forest that got him up to the top there. So well done. Prices have been sent out. Well done. And we'll see a bit later on how these guys are still doing as we have the leaderboard currently. So let's have a look at team news for the early games. These are from the match centres on Cloud Centre Football. So Burnley have Dubravka in goal. Let's just do a refresh there. Okay, so yeah, Dubravka in goal. Pires, Ekdal, Estevez, Walker. Ugochukwu, Florentino, Laurent, Chahuona, no idea who that is. Brozier and Edwards. For Newcastle, big news, Voltemade is benched. They have Pope in goal, Hall, Scher, Thiaw and Miley. Joe Linton, Bruno G and Tonali. Gordon and Barnes are flanking Wisser. Chelsea against Bournemouth. Chelsea are Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Chalobah and Achimpong. So I imagine that's Achimpong at right back and Gusto at left. Fernandes and Casido holding. Garnacho and Estavo wide. Palmer and Delap. I need to move this up a bit. Bournemouth, Petrovic, Truffert, Senesi, Hill and Jimenez. Scott Tavernier, Semenyo, Clivert and Brooks and Evan-Nielsen up front. Forest against Everton, so John Victor stays in goal for Forest. They have Williams, Milenkovic, Murillo and Zinchenko at the back. Anderson, Dominguez, and then they are Hudson-Odoi, Hutchinson wide, Gibbs White supporting Jesus. Pickford is in goal for Everton. They have Mikolenko, Tarkowski, O'Brien and Patterson, so no Keane. Garner and Iragabunam holding. I'm not sure if this is a site that's updated or my internet that's slow. Oh, great. Google Chrome not responding. Here we go. Yeah, Garner and Iragabunam in holding. They've got McNeil and Dibbling out wide with Roll behind Barry. And then West Ham v Brighton, Areola in goal, Scars, Kilman, Todibo and Walter Peters, Mateus Fernandez and Potts with Magassa, Paquetá and Bowen behind Wilson. He's picked a striker today. And then for Brighton, for Bruggen, Dunk, Van Heck, Veltman and De Kuyper, Milner and Iari, Kadioglu, Gomez, Minter and Danny Welbeck is up front. We'll come back onto that in a minute. See if I can get my team up. Yeah, so this is my team currently. So we are showing Roofs in goal. He was a transfer in on Sunday because I didn't have a player at all in the 4 teams. Timber, who missed out on Saturday, but the rumour is he's fit to play today. We have Van Heck, Chalobah and Virgil van Dijk. Anderson, Rice, who rumour is he's not fit to play today, and Enzo. And then up front, Haaland, Ekitike and Cunha. So much ado about nothing, 43 points so far. And 3 transfers made, which didn't do very well. Raul, Thiago and Raya have all left the side. So the new page we have on the website is the Insights tab, and this shows us the top 100 captaincy percentages, and it's updated about 5 to 10 minutes after kick-off of each day, or the first kick-off of each day. 2 ticks. So this is defaulting back to Sunday. And as you can see, Gahey was the top with 30%. Calvert-Lewin, who was brought in by a few people, 12%. And 11% joint with no captain at all, so nobody to pick. Or for Xhaka. And then we had Roofs at 9%. Then a few sort of in between 5 and 1%. And you can bring this down to find out who they all were. So somebody was expecting Munoz to be back, or they just didn't fancy making a transfer for him. So let's go back to the match centres, see who scored the points for last week. I'm going to put this down. This particular tab isn't having it at all. I wonder whether it's because it's live and updating. There we go. Okay. I'm going to move on to one of the others. Okay, I think we'll come back to that if we can. Let me go back onto the slides and we'll have a look at the team of the week that way, I think. Well, it looks like it's done something there, but we'll look at this first and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so team of the week so far. We have Dubravka in goal with his 12 points. 3-5-2 this week. So Dorgu, Anderson and Bueno at the back. 17, 9 and 9 collectively. Schade, top scorer of the week with 23 with his hat-trick. Cherky, Gravenberch, Semenyo and Wirtz bringing up the middle. And then Watkins and Raul were the 2 strikers. So 140 points in total, 92.6 million cost, and an average percentage of 7.5. So only two in double figures, Semenyo 57 and Anderson at 12. Nobody else really anywhere at all. Team of the season so far. So a couple of changes here as well. There's actually three. I've missed one off with the highlighter. So Roos is in goal instead of Araya. It's still a 5-3-2 with Chalobah, Ruben Dias, Mateus Nunes. He's new over Van Heck this week. Munoz and Timber. Semenyo, Fernandes and Rogers, who is new over, I think it's Mbeumo in midfield, and still Haaland and Thiago up front. As transfer count, so big moves here, certainly in the top 10. They went down 5.3 to 17.6. Top 50 down 1.24 to 27.38. Top 100 down 1.9 to 28.88. And overall down just under 1, 0.91, 36.3. So these are the upcoming fixtures. So today we have the 4 fixtures already gone through with the team news. Then we have Arsenal v Aston Villa and Manchester United v Wolves at 8:15. Then on Thursday evening, tea time kickoffs, Crystal Palace against Fulham and Liverpool v Leeds at 5:30. Then nighttime kickoffs, Brentford v Tottenham and Sunderland v Manchester City, both at 8 o'clock. And then on the weekend, so Saturday, early kick-off, Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest, 2-3 o'clocks, Brighton v Burnley and Wolves v West Ham. Then an evening kick-off with Bournemouth against Arsenal. Sunday, early kick-off, 12:30, Leeds v Manchester United. Then 3 o'clocks, which is a bit strange on a Sunday, but these are the timings. Everton v Brentford, Fulham v Liverpool, Newcastle v Crystal Palace and Tottenham v Sunderland. Then the last game, 5:30 instead of 4:30, is Manchester City against Chelsea. So this is from Solio Analytics, Rob T on Twitter or X. So these are the projected goals and projected clean sheets. He has it here for the next 6 FPL weeks. So what we're looking at really is where he's got game week 19, that's just our matches for this weekend. Where he's got game week 20 and 21, that's our matches for next weekend and the following midweek. And then 22 is when we come back after the FA Cup, which is something like the 17th of January. So for the next three sets or 2 cloud rounds, we're looking really at Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle and Manchester United. Just a touch of Brighton maybe, although their better fixtures is only one of those. So they're the highest for projected goals. Man City comfortably at the top and Arsenal looking comfortably second, a bit closer between the others. Then for clean sheets as well, Arsenal comfortably top, and then Manchester City just ahead of Newcastle, Chelsea, Everton. They've got a good set of defensive fixtures coming up. Liverpool and Aston Villa. Then a few sort of straggling behind, probably teams that we're less interested in. We'll have a quick look at, so this is just for today and Thursday. So the highest goals expected for this week: Chelsea 2.11, Newcastle 1.84, Arsenal 1.95, Manchester United 2.29. They are all today. And then on Thursday, Liverpool just over 2 at 2.01 and Manchester City at 2.14. And then for clean sheets, surprisingly, Arsenal, even though they're playing a very informed Aston Villa, are still 48% for a clean sheet, which these are what the bookies earn money on. You don't see many poor ones, so they've obviously got it roundabout right. So 48% Arsenal for a clean sheet, Manchester United 42, Manchester City 40, then high 30s, we've got Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, and Liverpool. Chelsea 32. I mean, Bournemouth have been poor away, but they still do score the odd goal. So let's see if we can get back to this match centre. Yeah, if I drag this down, so we can see who scored the points and how they scored them for last week. So the first game was Forest against Manchester City. Oh no, it wasn't actually. It was Manchester United against Newcastle, of course, on Boxing Night. So, goal scorers for United with Dorgu, tier 3s, Ugarte with the tackles and Dorgu with the shots, playing out position, full-back at right wing. For Newcastle United, Miley with the passes, tier 3. Then the early kick-off on Saturday was Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 2, Hutchinson with the goal for Forest, Reinders and Cherky with the goals for Manchester City, tier 3s all on the City side, Gvardiol and Diaz with the passes and Mateus Nunes with the tackles. Then the 3 o'clocks, Arsenal 2, Brighton 1, goal scorers for Arsenal was Ritter own goal and Martin Odegaard. For Brighton, I think Domingo Gomez. Tier 3s, only Verbruggen with the saves. Brentford 4, Bournemouth 1. Goal hat-trick for Schade and an own goal for Petrovic. Semenyo with, it was pretty much a consolation goal in the 75th minute. Tier 3s, Kelleher, 8 saves for a tier 3, Schade 5 shots on target for a tier 3, Semenyo 4 shots on target for a tier 3. Burnley Burnley 0, Everton 0. Obviously no goal scorers. Dubravka with 6 saves for a tier 3, Lauren 7 tackles for a tier 3, and Garner the same, 7 tackles for a tier 3. Liverpool 2, Wolves 1. Goal scorers were Gravenberch and Wirtz, with Bueno with the Wolves goal. Tier 3s, Van Dijk and Jones with a passing. Andre with the tackles for Wolves. West Ham 0, Fulham 1. Jimenez with a goal. Tier 3s on the West Ham side, both in tackles, Walker-Peters and Magassar. Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 2 in the tea time kickoff. João Pedro with a goal and then Watkins off the bench with a brace. Tier 3s, Sanchez with the saves, Badiashile with the passes and James with the tackles for Chelsea. And I say Watkins 4 shots off the bench just before the hour mark for a tier 3. Sunderland 1, Leeds 1. Adringa with his first goal for Sunderland. Calvert-Lewin, who's been on a tear up. Plenty of people brought him in on Sunday. Tier 3s, Stack with the tackles, and that was it. And then Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 1, which was the 4:30 game on Sunday. Archie Gray with a goal and no tier 3s to be seen. There's news in the chat. So, question, when to move Semenyo on as Transfer City looks imminent? Well, that's something we will have a look at imminently with midfielders. And FF Point Break saying that Timber starts for Arsenal, which is good news for my team, if nothing else. Right, let's get this. Where's my slides gone? It's all having a moment today. Right, let's put this back up. Okay, so this is the transfer planner. And I have filtered it just by midfielders, because we had several questions about midfielders this week. So let's find these questions. So, Cardiff F Loser said the same as FF Point Break. Sorry, this is 93DT. Semenyo to City and Jan. Do you think that makes him a sell in the short term? I can't see Pep throwing him straight in the first team and playing 90 minutes each week. He also says, assuming most managers can only afford a maximum of 2 players from Saka, Foden and Palmer, which would be your preferences, and do you think they're even worth the money versus spreading your funds elsewhere within your team? And Melvinio, he says, best 3 midfielders to own right now. Cheers. And I'll tie that in with John Boy's question. He says, which players which currently aren't in your 11 probably should be? So if we take the midfielders question first, this is the table of point scoring. So as you can see, Semenyo is at the top, but if his muted move to City goes ahead quickly, he's playing today, so I wonder whether City might be wise to let him play against Arsenal on Saturday night and then move him across. That's certainly what I would do if I was in charge of these things. So Semenyo's at the top. Then there's only one other over 100 is Rodgers. Rice, he's currently in my sub in 94, and Enzo with 92. Rice looks like he's injured. John Boy's just put the teams in for Manchester United. We've got Lamans, Dallo, Heaven, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Ugarte, Dorgu, Xerxes, Cunha and Sesko. And for Wolves, Sarr, Doherty, Mosquera, Krejci, Chakatoa, Arias, Gomez, Bueno, Mane, Arakadari and Heat Chan. Thanks, John. Yeah, so the midfielders there. So under Enzo, we've got Bruno G, Gravenberch, Pedro Neto. There's quite a phalanx of people between sort of high 80s and high 60s. Different ways of scoring points. I mean, most of these are going to be goals and assists for Semenyo. We'll have a look at the tiers in a minute. So which 3 midfielders would I currently be looking to pick? Well, Rodgers, I think, would be a certainty. I would currently probably like to be on Saka with an eye to move into either Palmer or Bruno in the short term to medium term future. I just think that one of those guys, as the question from Cloud FF Loser, you're likely to want one, and if you've got one now, it's an easy switch across. And then the other one I think is probably likely to be sort of more medium to long term. I think it'll be one of Cherki or Semenyo, and we really need to see how they line up with Pep. If one's going to play out wide, which I think Semenyo might, with Doku on the other side and Haaland up front, then you could have Foden and Cherki in behind with probably Rodri holding at 6 in sort of a 4-1-2-3 formation. But we need to see how that works. So I think in the interim period, you could probably look at one of the Newcastle boys. Their fixtures, I wonder if we can just click across here and see the fixtures for Newcastle. Yes, they've got Burnley today, then they've got Crystal Palace on the weekend, followed by Leeds at home, Wolves away, and Villa away, Liverpool sorry, Villa at home and Liverpool away. But there are move-on points after all of them, really. So after Leeds, you can move to a Liverpool or Arsenal. After Wolves, you can move to Brighton or Bournemouth. After Villa, you can move to Leeds or Everton. Or if you want to hold all the way to Liverpool, then you've got a big clutch of players to move to then on Sunday the 1st of February. So if we go back to the chart and see who's in there. So Bruno G is one that surprised me at 87 points. He's done well this season. Seems to get picked in most weeks. I know he did have a rest in one of them. Oh, we've got an Arsenal team as well. Thanks, John Boy. So Raya is in goal. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Hincapi. Marino, Zubimendi and Odegaard. Saka, Gyökeres and Trossard. So yeah, Rice injured. And Gabriel back with Saliba. And then for Villa, Martinez, Bogard, because Cash is injured. Not injured, suspended. He had 5 yellows. Concert, Lindelof, Dean, Onana, Tielemans, Sancho out wide. Buendia. Is he wide as well? Maybe Buendia in behind Watkins with Rodgers out wide. Thanks, John. And in answer to your question, 2 of those players that are in the Arsenal v Villa side are 2 people that, because John asked which players which currently aren't in your 11 probably should be. So Rodgers and Saliba, and I am going to make a move. In fact, I think I'm going to do it now. I am going to make a transfer live on air. I wonder if this is the first time. Probably not, but I am going to move Rice to Rodgers. So if I just search in here, see if I can find him. Save team. And captains. Tonight I have Cunha, and Thursday I have Haaland. And we'll see on the plan that I've got Rodgers marked in as a move anyway. So yeah, Rodgers and Saliba, John, would be 2 players that aren't in my previous side that I would like to be. So let's have a look at these midfielders by points per million, per 90, sorry. So at the top, Semenyo has always been high up. Palhinha, 6.13. He hasn't been picked to start for Tottenham as often as this time of the season. And another one there as well down the bottom end, 6.12, is Eze, another one who's not picked to start for Arsenal, as has been shown by today. If we have a look at the tier points, so this is just midfielder, so Elliot Anderson 41, he's in my side currently. Rice and Enzo, well, they both were there, one is now. Palhinha and Szoboszlai, who, even though he's been getting tears, and we know he scored the odd goal, isn't really doing as well in this format as he is in others. I know in Dream Team he's been very, very good. Gonzalez for Manchester City, Semenyo, which is nearly all shots. Caicedo's gone a bit off the boil. Gravenberch doing okay there. You can read the rest. It's the same players, just with a different level of scoring. So the top ones there, 41, 37, 37, 2 more in the 30s, and then sort of a clutch of players in the 20s. And if we do this by ownership, we can see Semenyo is the only one at over 50% in midfield. Rodgers 33, Rice is 29. I wonder if you were going to move him today. That was just my alarm going off there to remind me to do the transfers. So then we've got Enzo and Elliot Anderson 20. Then Wilson and Xhaka, who've been captaincy options recently, 16 and 14. Bruno G is the only other one over 10 at 11. So I'm just going to put this back to, I'm going to add all people back in again. Defender and a striker. There we go. Let's put them all back in again. We'll have a quick look at the... We've got strikers in there. Oh, no, I need to add that to 12. Yep, there we go. Yeah, so Haaland's still well at the top, 177. Chalobah, Semenyo, 118. 116, Ruben. Then it's very similar players to we looked at last week. Look at here on the tier. So Van Hecke and Haaland. Mateus Nunes, very much under the radar. They're the ones that sort of jump in at that section. And if we look at the ownerships then, so Haaland 98, Timber 77, Chalobah 74, then 63 for Saka, then a few in the high 50s, Thiago, Semenyo and Raya. And then these are the sort of the points by ownership. So there's a few lower owned that are doing very well for points, like Ruths and Calvert-Lewin. Something on Calvert-Lewin a bit later. Now, if we just have a look at the charts for what's causing these points to be scored. So for passes, we've got 3 in the green at over 75 passes per 90. So Tosin, Saliba and Curtis Jones doing a good job of recycling the ball for Liverpool, and he looks like he's going to be playing fairly regularly now. For shots on target, nobody in the green and only 1 in the orange, which is Erling Haaland. Tackles, 2 in the green now, Palhinha and Ugarte, with Florentino in the orange. And then for saves, nobody in the orange at all, and only a handful, or just over a handful in the yellow. Some of those aren't even playing now. So Areola is, Dubravka is, Ruths is, Pope is, Johnston's lost his place, Selden's lost his place, and there's Verbruggen. So your goalkeeper points are mainly about the clean sheets, not too many hitting regular saves per 90. All right, let's have a look at the team and the plan. So we'll go back to where we were on the weekend. So Cunha was brought in on Friday as a captain. Didn't do very much, but he's captain again today in what should be a much better fixture at home to Wolves. Ekitike was brought in on Saturday ahead of the Wolves fixture, but only got an assist in it. Liverpool were very hit and miss, but he does have Leeds this week. Let's see if he does any better. I don't think he's going to be here for the long term. I think after Burnley, and that's mid-January, might be a look to move him on somewhere. Ruths came in on Sunday. He was captain. He's also got captaincy coming ahead in February, and he does also allow a bit extra further down the line in the team. So Rodgers has come in today for Rice, and that leaves me with a midfield trio of Anderson, Rodgers and Enzo. 2 of those I'm not overly happy with, and they should look to be moved on in the nearer rather than further future. And we'll just have a look at Saturday and Sunday for captaincy this week. I've currently got it bust on Van Hecke for Saturday at home to Burnley. Hopefully a clean sheet and some passing bonus. My other options are Timber for Arsenal away at Bournemouth. Anderson, who is away at Aston Villa, or Rodgers. So I could go for Rodgers, depending on what we see tonight from both Villa and Forest. But the minute bust on Van Hecke. Then for Sunday, it's currently bust on Haaland. Tricky fixture at home to Chelsea. City got 2 days less rest as well for that game, because they play on Thursday, Sunday, and Chelsea are playing Tuesday, Sunday. But of the options, it looks to me like Haaland is probably the best. He'll certainly be the highest owned. And then I'll put this back. So for Next week, I'd originally suggested we do the show as Tuesday Night Live again, but when I had a look at the fixtures, it's only West Ham v Nottingham Forest, so I expect most people to have their moves sorted out in advance. You've either got a West Ham player or you're bringing one in this week, because I doubt you'll be bringing one in on Tuesday, or you've got a Forest player and the same will apply. So I think next week we will do Wednesday Night Live on the 7th ahead of 8 fixtures on that day, because there's only one on the Thursday, Arsenal v Liverpool. So yeah, so thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed your watch, please give the video a like, and we will be back next week. In the meantime, enjoy the games tonight. We've got 10 minutes to kick off. Time to get yourself a drink, get yourself ready, and then 2 more games at 8:15, and then 2 more on Thursday. Well, 2 sets of 2 on Thursday, 2 early and 2 late. So I will wish you all a very merry, a merry past Christmas, merry festive period, happy holidays, but very best wishes for 2026, and may all your arrows be green. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye for now.